Welcome to Chicks and Tips for this Friday. Hope you're all well and got a cool weekend lined up. I'm Emily from MD Outdoors, in case you don't know me. Today we've got something really exciting to look at. We've got Em. She's going to be showing us through her ultralight pack setup that she took away this weekend up Mount Owen, and how much gear you can get into a small pack, which she's going to show us in a minute. Don't forget that if you are a adventurer and you like to film what you do, we've got a comp running. Check it out on our Instagram or our website. Opportunity to win like heaps of awesome prizes and be a part of a festival later on in March. So yeah, check it out. But for now, Em, welcome.
Woohoo!
Ooh, here she is.
Alrighty, I'm all packed up, ready to go. I'm going to be showing you guys all my stuff in the Talon, Osprey Talon 44. So it's quite a small pack, particularly if you're used to going away with like a 60, 65 litre. This one is pretty tiny, and I've still got oodles of room in here, even though I fit all my stuff in plus a few extras. So I'll start with the outside. Usually on the outside, I chuck in my poles, just keep them separate, and then they don't get crushed and they don't puncture my bag. I also used on this trip for the first time, the Sawyer squeeze system. I never filter my water and I need a start before I get a parasite. So I used that and it was really easy. I love that the bag just compresses and tucks away when I'm not using it. And then on the other side, I just kept my Nalgene. I always find it handy to have at least like 2 litres capacity of water on my trips. So that's that. Under the hood, I generally tramp in shorts, t-shirt, and then start off in a nice mid-layer. This is the Rab Superflux, and that was so comfy. I love having a jacket mid-layer. It makes it really easy to air it out and get some breeze in there. On the stretchy pocket on the outside, I keep my camp shoes, which are just my Tevas. Super lightweight, and then you can get them wet. So I'd recommend packing a pair of camp shoes you don't mind getting wet, and then you can use them for river crossings and other things. And then once we jump inside the bag, I'll do sort of like a top down. So got my rain jacket. I'd always recommend taking a rain jacket even if there's no rain forecast. If anything, it makes a really good seat or windbreak. So pack one of those. I also managed to fit a book in here, which was awesome, like a bit of a luxury, but if you arrive to camp early, it's always nice having something to do. I've got my puffy jacket for camp as well. I don't generally hike in this because it destroys the down and can't get it wet, obviously, but a great mid-layer for camp if it's super chilly. And then into my food, I packed some amazing food this trip. For dinner, I had the Real Meals Tom Kha Gai, and it was delicious. And it doesn't seem like a lot in the packet, but I was stuffed. I was so full. For brekkie, I had the Radix Apple and Cinnamon. I'm not usually a fan of sweet breakfast, but this was really good. And then for lunch, oh my God, my lunch was so amazing. I had the Radix Mex rice, and I mixed it with tuna from a tuna packet, and that was like the most delicious thing I've ever eaten. It was great. I cook in my Tokes pot, which is a titanium pot, so it's super lightweight. And in there, I stow away just some little bits and bobs, and my gas canister is in there as well. Just a mini one for an overnighter. You don't need anything too big. And then in my other little food bag, I just keep like my tuna and other random snacks. Just in that one, tucked away, just so it doesn't go everywhere in my bag. I know where it is. I also took an extra pair of pants on this trip, just because I didn't know how cold I would be up on the tops. So I took my Torque pants, which I also hiked in on the morning the next day, just because it was a little bit chilly. And there was some scrub up there, so I didn't want to get all scratched up on my legs. I took my little 360-degree stove, which is super teeny tiny. Usually I take my Jetboil, but if I can't fit it in, I take this guy. And you can take it out of its container and just like wrap it up in a tea towel, and then it's even tinier. Ooh, sleep system. So in here is not just my sleeping bag, but I've also got my liner, my pillow, and thermals top and bottom for camp. And camp socks as well. So I find stuffing it all in my sleeping bag keeps it all in one place. I'm not worried about things like losing stuff in the bottom of my bag. I know where everything is. And then being in a compression sack, I can get it super teeny tiny. So that's my hot tip there. I also took my roll mat, which is my Nemo tensor. I've had this for years and it is freaking amazing. I always recommend people get one when they come in. This one is quite old, as you can tell by the old school packaging, but we do have the new models in as well. And then obviously I camped, so I took my tent up. I just have a super basic one-man tent. It's kind of coffin-like, it's super tiny, but I can sit up. My feet don't hit the end and it's really comfy and it's just enough. And I don't keep it in its bag, in its stuff sack. I just chuck it in the bottom of my bag. And that's so I can really squish it down and there's no like odd shapes trying to Tetris them in the bottom. So just chuck it in and there's the pegs as well. Oh yeah, and then I got my beanie and my gloves, which are quite bulky anyway. And that is the entire bag. It was somewhere around like 7 kilos and that's including food and water. So it was like super lightweight, super small. I could even fit more stuff in there. I just find people tend to overpack on particularly overnight hikes. But it's always handy just taking the essentials, getting your list down so you know exactly what you're taking. Oh, and before I forget, I also always carry a bum bag. And in there I keep my phone, my Opinel knife in its cute little packaging, and then my toiletries. So I've got my sun cream, my sun butter, you know I love it, my bug repellent, and then just some bee balm, and that's by the Tui brand. So they're natural and they're really good, and I just take little sachets, little samples with me. And then in the front pocket, I've got a little baggie with some Band-Aids, some wool, some Panadol, and then I take nail clippers and tweezers in there as well. So it's always good to have a backup. And then I wore a cap and my Gouda sunnies, of course, because you can't go anywhere without them. But that was pretty much my full setup. And it was perfect. I didn't want for anything. I didn't feel like I needed anything extra. It was perfect for an overnighter or even pushing like a 2-dayer. If you pack like extra undies and extra socks, I would recommend. But that is my ultralight setup. If you found this really interesting and you learned a couple cool tips, we're launching our event today, our next event at the end of the month. It's going to be a beginner's hiking event. So you'll pick up some cool tips on like anything from how to plan your trip, where to go, some navigation stuff, some first aid stuff, what to pack, how to pack, and then how to be safe on trail. So if you'll be interested in that, stay tuned. We'll release the details today. But thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next week. Hope you guys have a great weekend. Peace.